Okay, hear me out. What if I wake up earlier every day? What if I start journaling? What if I call my mom back, stop swearing so much, and finally go to therapy like I said I would? Would that undo it? Would that fix it? Would that bring them back? Would it make the pain smaller? Would it let me pretend I didn't lose something I wasn't ready to lose? Welcome to bargaining, also known as the grief flea market, where you trade in your emotional stability for a half-price deal with the universe that never actually gets honored. This is the part of grief where you start negotiating, not with people, but with God, with fate, with karma, with anything or anyone that might rewind time or at least give you a refund on your trauma. You say things like, if I had just done this, maybe they'd still be here. If I start being better now, maybe I'll get them back. If I act fine, maybe the pain will leave me alone. It's the inner voice that whispers, surely there's a way to unhurt this, right? But bargaining isn't a real strategy. It's desperation in disguise. It's hope clinging to control. It's grief trying to buy time with promises it knows it can't keep. Today, we're unpacking that emotional bartering table, why we do it, why it doesn't work, and how underneath all the deals and the what-ifs is the truth we've all been trying to outrun. We lost something, and nothing will make it untrue. This is Brutally Human, the Grief series, and today, we're negotiating with ghosts. So let's talk about it. So you burned through denial, you survived anger, you screamed into the void, cried into a half-eaten tub of ice cream, and now you've entered the what-if zone. You start rewinding the tape. What if I had called them that night? What if I had said something different? What if I had just tried harder, been better, stayed longer, prayed more, shut up, spoke up? You run every scenario like it's an emotional crime scene, and somehow every version of it ends with the same thing. It's still gone. They're still gone. And now you've just exhausted yourself playing mental gymnastics. But that doesn't stop bargaining. Oh, no. Bargaining is like that shady inner voice that shows up and says, all right, babe, listen, I can't bring them back, but I can give you a deal. You be perfect now. You never mess up again. In exchange, I'll let you pretend this never happened. Deal? And you, fragile, grieving, emotionally bankrupt, say, sure, sounds good. Where do I sign? Let's call it what it is, though. Bargaining is grief trying to buy back time with guilt. You think if you can find the right combination of apologies, sacrifices, and behavior upgrades, maybe the universe will show you some mercy. Maybe you won't feel the weight of the loss. Maybe you'll get to bypass the rest of the grief stages. Maybe this is a cheat code. But spoiler, it's not. It's just control in a different outfit. Because that's all bargaining is. Grief trying to wrestle back control from a situation where you had none. We bargain because the alternative is unbearable, that we lost something, and that there's nothing we can do to reverse it. That the story ended, and that we didn't get to write the last page. That sometimes we don't get closure. We just changed. And the wildest part, we still try anyways, because bargaining feels easier than acceptance. It's softer than depression. It's the stage where you still get to believe just for a second that maybe you'll wake up and none of this will be real. But it is, and you are. And that's the part we'll face next. Coming up, we'll talk about all the places bargaining shows up that don't even look like bargaining at first. Overworking, over-explaining, over-giving, trying to earn something back that's already gone. You ever look back at a chapter of your life and think, oh, wow, I was absolutely unhinged, but like in a really quiet, emotionally calculated way? Yeah, that was probably bargaining. See, the thing about the stage is it doesn't always look like you whispering, please God, I'll do anything, into the void. Most of the time, it shows up in behavior you've already written off as coping. But let's call it what it is. Grief math. The emotional algebra of trying to find an equation where your pain equals less pain. And here's what it looks like. Number one, over apologizing. You say sorry for everything. You think maybe if you're more agreeable, more lovable, more low maintenance, the universe will be kinder to you next time. Number two, over functioning. Suddenly you're productive. Too productive. You organize your life, your closet, your trauma. Like if you just get it all under control, you won't feel like you're falling apart. Number three, people pleasing on steroids. You say yes when you mean no. You give when you're empty, because a part of you believes if you're good enough now, you'll be rewarded later by fate, karma, God, someone. Number four, hyper spirituality. This one is sneaky. You start bargaining with Bible verses. You think if you go to church more, meditate longer, raise your vibrations, maybe you'll earn your way out of the grief. Don't act like you've never tried to bribe God with a tithing promise in exchange for peace. I've seen you. Number five, revisiting the past like it's a crime scene. You replay conversations. You dissect moments. You look for the one move you could have made differently, even though it wouldn't have changed a damn thing. But it makes you feel like you had some power in the moment when you lost all of it. Because that's what it's really about, right? Power. The illusion that if you had done something differently, the outcome would have changed. And that illusion, it's comforting until it's not. Because eventually, all that emotional contortionism catches up to you, and you realize no deal was made, no trade was accepted, no miracle loophole was granted. And family, that moment, that's when bargaining finally cracks. Coming up next, we're diving into what's under the bargaining, the real reason we're making deals, the terror, the guilt, the unbearable idea that what happened is permanent. You ever hear the song, The Devil Went Down to Georgia, and realize that that's bargaining? That's it. That's the whole stage. You're hurting. You've lost something. And here comes the voice in your head, or the devil, your guilt, the universe, pick your villain, leaning in like, I'll make you a deal. And just like that, fiddle playing son of a gun, you're suddenly out here negotiating like, if I love better next time, if I promise to never mess up again, if I give up everything I want and become the perfect vision of myself, will that undo it all? You lay your soul on the table. You offer up your joy, your peace, your sense of self, hell, sometimes even your entire personality for a shot at undoing what you can't live with. And just like in the song, you never really win, because the truth is, you're not actually making deals. You're bleeding out emotionally while trying to prove you still had control the whole time. It's spiritual haggling. It's, dear God, I'll do better. Dear universe, please just rewind. Dear me, if I pretend this didn't happen, maybe it didn't. But it did. And here's the real kicker. We don't bargain because we're weak. We bargain because we're desperate for meaning. Because if something awful happened for no reason at all, then we're just here in pain, floating through the wreckage with nothing to hold on to. So we try to force a reason. We assign value to the loss. We say things like, maybe this was meant to teach me something. Maybe this had to happen so I could grow. Maybe this was a part of the plan. And listen, sometimes that's true. But a lot of the times, That's just bargaining dressed up in spiritual language because the pain feels too big to name without a bow on it. Here's the truth. Some things don't make sense at all. And you can bargain all day, play the fiddle like your life depends on it, try to outsmart, out-sacrifice, out-pray the grief, but at the end of the song, you're still standing in the ashes. And the only thing left to do is feel. Coming up, we're stepping into the moment where bargaining finally collapses, where hope and illusion part ways. And what's left is the silence of acceptance, trying to take root before you're ready. So what happens when the deal doesn't go through? When you've made every promise, sacrificed every part of yourself, offered your time, your sleep, your sanity, and nothing changes? What happens when the universe stays quiet? When the call doesn't come, when the miracle doesn't show up, and the door doesn't open, and you realize this is real? That's the moment bargaining collapses. Not with a bang, but with a whisper. Because bargaining's power isn't in whether or not it works. It doesn't. It's in how long it can distract you from the truth. And when it stops working, you're just there, holding all the what ifs you built a shrine to, watching them all fall apart in your hands. And it's in that silence, after the negotiations, after the fantasy of control, after the pleading and promises, that grief starts to change. It becomes heavier, stiller, more honest. It's the moment where you finally stop running, stop begging, and start realizing this is the story now. And family, that doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you gave up. It means you're finally standing still long enough to tell the truth. This happened. It hurt. I couldn't stop it, but I'm still here. That's not giving up. That's waking up. You're not the person who was bargaining anymore. You're the person left behind, trying to figure out what life looks like now that your bargain has expired and your grief is just grief. Coming up, we'll wrap up this stage by talking about how to step forward when you've got nothing left to bargain with. No promises, no trade, just you and the truth. There comes a point in grief where you just run out of deals. You've traded your sleep. You've begged for rewinds. You've rewritten the timeline in your head 1,000 ways, and none of them changed the ending. So what now? What happens when you have nothing left to offer and the universe still isn't negotiating? That's when something shifts. Not in a loud, triumphant way, but in the quiet, bone-deep kind of way that feels like surrender. And not surrender like defeat, not giving up, but surrender like truth. You stop asking, what could I have done, and start whispering, this is what happened. You stop offering deals and start accepting reality. You stop bracing for impact and start learning how to breathe through the wreckage. And the most beautiful, painful, liberating part of it all, you start making peace with the fact that there is no peace to be made with it. Only the choice to carry it differently. Not bargaining, not resisting, just being. And that doesn't mean you're okay. It just means you're honest. You don't have to be whole yet. You don't have to be healed. You don't even have to be hopeful. You just have to be willing to stop pretending you can undo it. And from that place comes something resembling peace. Something that looks like rest. Something that feels like I can't fix it, but maybe I can live with it. Next week, we step into the stage that most people try to skip. Depression. Not sadness, not mopey aesthetic grief with a sad playlist and good lighting, but the real kind. The kind that steals your motivation, dulls your senses, and leaves you asking why in the hell you got out of bed at all. It's the stage no one wants to talk about because it doesn't make for good content. But we're not here to be palatable. We're here to be real. So until next time, do you, but this time, do it with honesty, boundaries, and a little bit of grace. And if you feel yourself bargaining with the universe again, just know, I've been there. And you're not crazy. You're just brutally human. I'm Kyle Fields. Good night.